Wednesday. It's Wealth Wednesday. You are running with the runners. It's Wednesday, November 8th, 2023. It's a green day, brother. Life is good. What's going on with Ricardo Hamilton, aka Mims? Making it make sense today.
Yeah, brother, everything is good, man. Happy Wednesday, Wealth Mindset Wednesday. You know, look, we got another phenomenal show for you guys. A lot of value, massive opportunity still for those who know, and we just want to document it and take advantage and help those become aware of what's available.
We've been screaming from the rooftops. We've been trying to tell you guys, trying to get you educated, motivated through the bear market. You know, we made the video buy Bitcoin every day when it was at 16,000. I didn't tell you this story, Ricardo. One of the runners who joined us because of the nodes didn't know anything about crypto. And, he was getting nodes. I said, listen, you need to start buying Bitcoin. You need to start buying Bitcoin. So he didn't tell me, but apparently he started throwing 2-3K at it when it was in the teens and the 20s. And he's like, Mike, when Bitcoin hit 35 grand the other day, I sold about half of my Bitcoin and made $50,000.
Wow.
I was like,
wow.
You better take me out for dinner or something.
Right. And see, those are the stories, and that's powerful because we have a lot of people who've been winning with us for years. You know what I'm saying? Accumulating assets, creating passive additional streams of income, leveraging systems that are centralized and decentralized. And even just something as simple as, just dollar cost averaging, acquiring, Bitcoin during the bear market, obviously it's turned into a phenomenal gains and profits for people. So, folks, this is what we do. We look for value and we bring value to the people, and that creates a lot of success for everybody.
So one thing I want to point out before we get into today's content is I made a post on this last night. Guys, Bitcoin has a layer 2. Bitcoin has a DeFi. It is super, super nerdy. I just did a video on this last night with Juanita that I'll be editing and getting out soon. Okay. So I made our community aware of this when it first came out. I said, don't buy right now, but wait for it to drop. And right about here, I said, start buying this every week on crypto.com. So we were buying this up. Well, it was 6, 7, even got down to $3 right here. And then in the last month, it's up to hit $14. Now we're at 12.6. So this is why you want to automate, guys. And it's called dollar cost averaging, or DCA. So if you have not started to do this, you want to start doing this, at least with Bitcoin. The only negative thing about Ordi right now is you cannot get it out of crypto.com, which I'm not a fan of. But unless you want to get nerdy, which you should, and learn DeFi, that's the only really way to buy it right now in America. But we're going to be bringing you guys the video to show you how to get into the DeFi on Bitcoin, because millions will be made there. One other thing, Ricardo, Infinity Pi, kicking butt, taking names, where you slow down a little bit at 4 and then blast it up to about 450 today. Still have lots of buys coming in. And tonight, I haven't even released this yet, Ricardo. We will be going live with Sean Malta at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. And it's going to be basically a strategy session on how to unlock your Pi tokens. He has figured it out. He got on the blockchain, tested it. We now have a definitive final answer, and we're going to show you guys the proof tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Awesome. Yep. Another winner, folks. Infinity Pi. Look, we're going to bring you the value. It's up to you to take advantage. All we can do is lead you the way. This is the way. That's it.
All right. Let's see here. Where is that video? There we go. So Ricardo shared this with me on TikTok the other day, and this guy just does an amazing breakdown of how revolutionary Bitcoin is and how this bull market from the Bitcoin halving that's going to happen around April is the greatest financial opportunity, not just of our lifetime, in the entire world, in the history of the world. This is it. I said last night, this will make the gold rush of 1849 look like pocket change. And think about this, Ricardo, right? In 1849, people were so hungry to be free, to get wealthy, They literally traveled across an entire country that wasn't tamed, that wasn't settled, to try to get riches. And now here we have the opportunity of a millennia, and people are too lazy to get educated and get into DeFi. They don't spend the time, they get frustrated, they don't seek help, and they're just sitting on a computer in their comfort of their own home, and they still won't take action. I think it just speaks to, either their mindset is off and they're just thinking, oh, everything's negative or a scam, or they just don't believe in themselves. I'm not sure which one it is, but guys, you need to take action and get educated. It's not about how much money you have. It's about how much knowledge that you have in this space.
Yeah, man, that's a good point. I mean, I think a lot of people just used to stuff being handed to them, or I mean, really, what people had to go through to change their lives, to get in position to get wealth. Even during the Great Depression, a lot of these social services programs, they weren't here. When the bank ran away with your money, that was it. There was no FDIC. There wasn't all these layers of sort of security and reassurance and recourse. And now today, it's so easy. It's so easy to get wealthy, to acquire assets, to take part of opportunities. But like you said, it's just you have to have a strategy, you have to have a plan, you have to do it constantly, continuously, consistently, and you want to make sure that you follow through. And so when we're showing you, just simply dollar cost averaging in the Bitcoin, obviously that great example, right? Or simply taking advantage of DeFi and smart contracts with Infinity Pi, or a lot of the other things that we're showing you that are helping people win in this space. You just have to find something, you have to take action, and you have to do it, and you have to be serious about it. It is about your knowledge, your information, what you're able to retain, how you're using it. You can't just put something, a lot of people buy something or put something somewhere and forget about it, and don't check, don't know what's going on with the ecosystem. They just kind of hope that somebody's going to hold their call them and tell them what to do every time. No, you got to be a self-starter, be proactive in what you're doing, and if you really want to see results. But the opportunity is out here, Mike. You're right. It's easier than ever. It's way easier than ever.
Yeah, no one is going to care about your wealth more than you. You are the economy. All right, now this is a fire video, and I think even if you're new to crypto, I think he breaks it down and makes it simple for you guys to understand.
Ultimately, fiat currency is bad, evil, horrible, fine. Bitcoin's better. It's a store of value. Think about being in Venezuela. If you stayed in bolivars, all your wealth is gone. All your family's wealth is gone. All of it gone. Zero. Had you converted those bolivars to Bitcoin, you still had your Bitcoin, and it's worth a lot more. So same thing in Turkey, same thing in Argentina, same thing in the United States. 3 years ago, if you bought Bitcoin at $10,000, right? The money that you have is now worth half as much because they printed $10 trillion, right? The price of everything is up. So your value, your currency is down, but your Bitcoin is now worth 26,000. That's better. But the Bitcoin didn't change. One Bitcoin, still one Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Renowned hedge fund manager and crypto enthusiast Mark Yusko predicts that blockchain technology, the underlying technology of the cryptocurrency industry, will cause a massive explosion of wealth creation that will overshadow the previous two tech moves combined. The Morgan Creek Capital founder is certain that Web3 is going to create tens of trillions in new wealth over the coming years.
So I did a post on this, Ricardo, and people still do not grasp how huge Web 3.0 is. So Web 1 is you just read, right? In the 90s, you could just read the internet, right? Web 2.0 is read and write, right? That's like Facebook, blogs. You could read it, and you could also create it and write it. Web 3.0 is read, write, own. You own your digital artifacts. You have digital scarcity with whether it's NFTs or nodes or cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. Guys, this is it. This is the land grab. This is New York in the 1880s when you can get, acres of land in Manhattan for hundreds of dollars. I mean, people are going to laugh. You know, remember when Bitcoin was $16,000 and we didn't buy?
Mm.
Remember when the pandemic started and Bitcoin dipped down to $6,000
Mm.
and there were still people that weren't buying? Like, people are going to be like shocked and be like, how could these people be so ignorant? But yet we still have a majority of the people out here who have no idea about blockchain technology, much less DeFi or Web 3.0. And I don't know what else to say, Mims.
Yeah, no, I mean, you broke it down. I mean, this is helping people understand opportunity, because it's one thing to say Bitcoin, it's one thing to tell people to put your money here, but it's a whole other thing for them to understand the underlying infrastructure and the technology and the innovation behind it that really makes it tick and function, because that's where you understand that I don't, buy red and or buy green and sell red. It's you understand that the technology is here and that you're just seeing fluctuations in the price of it, but that does not necessarily equate the value. So unfortunately, when people will buy some Bitcoin, they say, oh, Bitcoin's going down, let me sell it now before I lose more money. Not understanding that you have to understand the value and where the market is going, where the trend is, because the downward is temporary compared to where it's going in the future. And the other part about it is that when it comes to people saving or investing, you've bought into this idea that you need to wait until you're in your 60s to retire. You've bought into the idea of a 401k where you're contributing to that for 40 years, but you hold on to Bitcoin or certain cryptos for a year or two, and they're not a millionaire or did a 10x or 100x, and they're like, oh, I got to get out of this thing. So it's about mindset, it's about understanding the technology, and it's about knowing what you hold.
Yep. 1 Bitcoin still equals 1 Bitcoin.
The large percentage of this new wealth will go into top cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ether, as well as into other digital assets built on the blockchain. The renowned hedge fund manager also envisions the complete destruction of what he describes as the trust system. The trust industry is the traditional finance industry. It's a system which basically takes your money and commands you to trust that you will get it back. Someday, when it decides you don't get your money back, then you don't. Yusko estimates that the custodians of the trust system, banks, brokerages, auditors, insurance companies, etc., manage to siphon $7 trillion for their services annually.
Did you catch that, Ricardo? I want to make sure everyone caught that before we move on. The trust people, right? The insurance companies, the hedge funds, Wall Street, the banks, they siphon $7 trillion a year to those financial industries. So that is wealth that is taken from the average ordinary people and given to the elites that are running the trust system. Bitcoin makes them irrelevant.
Yeah, it's a massive opportunity, folks. Massive opportunity. Very disruptive.
When the trust system of the blockchain finally destroys that corrupt system, those trillions will be poured into the truth system. We will now bring you clips from Yusko's recent interview with Money Tree Investing.
So blockchain technology, I will go out on a limb and say is one of the most foundational innovations of this century. I think it will create more wealth than the previous 2 tech booms combined. And what do I mean by that? So Web 1, which was pretty amazing. So from the early 90s to the middle to 2010s, we had this thing called Web 1, the internet. And the internet created about $2 trillion of wealth. Companies like Cisco and early days of Microsoft and Intel, really big business. But $2 trillion, and that was a lot of money. And that was all about read, meaning I could now get access to information ubiquitously, instantaneously. In the old days when I was growing up, you're a little bit younger than me, but you had this thing called an encyclopedia. Like literally a bunch of books that you went and that's where you got your information. It was out of date. It was biased. I mean, it was crazy, but that was all we had. We couldn't type on a computer, and go to Wikipedia. So, and I'm not saying that's perfect, but all information in the world is at our fingertips every single day. That's better. So the web was good and it created a lot of wealth. Well, then Web 2 came along. Well, now it was about read and write. Now get at things like social media and e-commerce and things like Amazon. Remember, Amazon's only existed for 27 years. In the first 10 years, it wasn't really much of a success. So in the last 15 years, it's created trillions and trillions of dollars of value. And Web 2 created about $5 trillion of incremental wealth. It's pretty cool. But that's read write. Well, now we're going to have read write own. Well, what does that mean? Well, if you think about what the internet did, it made information available. Web 2 made information two directional for the first time and exchangeable. Well, now value can be accounted for and exchanged, and you can own your identity, your data. Again, in the old days, you post content on Facebook and they monetize your content, or you send your DNA to 23andMe and you get your heritage and they sell your DNA to a drug company for $1,000. Why didn't you sell your DNA to a drug company for $1,000? They didn't know.
Well, you know what I'm going to talk about here, Ricardo.
Oh yeah.
If you guys haven't been paying attention, we are now monetizing our health data with wearables.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a wearable,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter what kind it is, Garmin, Fitbit, Apple, Samsung, they're taking your data and selling it because you're still living in Web 2.0.
Mm.
The runners are in Web 3.0.
That's right.
Where we monetize our health data, where we are getting paid from our heartbeat, and where we are taking our data, anonymizing it, right? So it's not like, this is Michael Tharp's data. This is a 44-year-old male from the Midwest, whatever. And it goes through an NFT to anonymize it and make sure it's decentralized. And then they're able to sell it for millions of dollars because it's the most precious data. The most precious treasure we have now is data. Data is the new oil.
Mm-hmm.
Mims, you might want to break it down because that's a pretty big concept to grasp here.
Yeah. No, I mean, folks, the opportunity that we have now is opportunity that we haven't had ever in history, for you to own and get paid from the things that industries and corporations have been profiting off of you and siphoning from you since the inception. And, this is the power of a lot of things that we're sharing. We're sharing opportunities and companies and systems on the blockchain, okay, that allow you to participate in that wealth transfer and owning your data and getting paid from it. And something so phenomenal, so revolutionary as getting paid from your own heartbeat, okay? You are the wealth. And so when Mike shows you the wearable device, this data is being accumulated, and normally it would be sold and you wouldn't see any of the profits or the revenue or anything from it. But now today, okay, you have the ability to take that data, okay, and it's uploaded to the blockchain and you're getting paid. You're benefiting from your own data in healthcare. So that's huge. Obviously, for those who want to take advantage of that, get inside the Runners app. We have all those videos and information links under the video, breaking down and showing you how to participate in that area of the blockchain, dealing with healthcare data and you monetizing it and getting paid. But this is the wealth. This is part of the wealth transfer, folks. And more opportunities, more and more companies, more and more systems, more and more platforms are going to be coming online. Same way in the early 2000s when a lot of .coms came online. And some of those are going to be household names creating untold generational wealth, right? It just comes down to, were you a part of the wealth transfer? Were you there early enough? Did you know about it? Did you participate? Did you keep up with it? That's what the runners are doing. And that's why those who are running with us are winning.
And if you guys are already wearing a wearable like Apple, Samsung, whatever, we will, in the next month, you will be able to purchase an NFT, keep using the wearable you want, but profit from your data. So when that happens, it's going to be huge. And this is going to blow up even more than it already is.
Yep. Inside the Runners app.
Exciting times, guys.
Oh, how? Well, in Web3, all of these things will be ours, right? Our data, our health data, our intellectual capacity, everything will be owned by us using blockchains. Well, I'll give you a simple example. Money. In the old days, I lent you money and, okay, I wrote down in my ledger, papyrus or clay tablet or whatever it was, thousands of years. And you came back a year later to pay me the $110. and I'm an unscrupulous guy. I'm not trustworthy. You had to trust me, but I'm untrustworthy. So I wrote down 200. I changed the ledger. And you come back to pay me, and the ledger says 200. And you're like, well, but I only borrowed 100. It's your word against mine. And I got the book. You were out of luck. With blockchain, it can all be based on truth. I don't have to trust anybody. I know on the Bitcoin blockchain, if I have a Bitcoin, I have a Bitcoin. If you have a Bitcoin, you have Bitcoin. If I transfer one to you, it's a permanent, immutable ledger. And that is an amazing innovation. So what blockchains do is they give us an ability to strip out, to liberate this $7 trillion in the trust industry, which is why the banks hate it so much, and use it for better purposes. And here's the cool thing. If you liberate $7 trillion a year, which is 68% of global GDP, and you put it back in the hands of the people, it turns out human creativity is the most powerful force in the universe. And with some additional capital, they'll create some amazing things. And
According to the
So I love that part there. The truth over trust. We don't need to trust centralized middlemen who take $7 trillion a year from the average ordinary people. What we need is truth and the blockchain and smart contracts that will liberate the people. Perfectly said.
Yeah, that's why blockchain is so powerful. It's a trustless system. We don't have to trust, the banks. We don't have to trust the middleman. We don't have to trust the third party, because a lot of times it's humans. You know what I mean? These are people on the other end of these. And we talked about these institutions that are siphoning, trillions of dollars, taking advantage of people through the old system. Well, this is the new system. The most redundant technology, transparent, resilient, trustless system out there. And that's why blockchain is so disruptive. And it's going to disrupt every area of human activity, folks. So understand something. If blockchain is disrupting every area of human activity, there are massive opportunities in every area of human activity to gain wealth, to be a part of the transfer. So when we're talking about, we just talked about healthcare, but there are other areas of human activity that blockchain is going to revolutionize. And those who find those companies, those institutions, those systems, those platforms that are involved in those industries and areas of human activity early on, as they grow and develop and expand, those are the people who are going to become wealthy because they found it early on. The same way with .com. This is why this is the largest wealth transfer in history, because it affects everything that involves human activity.
And we can finally own it.
And we can own it.
And you made a good point there about we're not trusting people, but it's not just people, guys. We're talking about huge mega national corporations that have no allegiance to you. They don't care about you. They just look at you as a dollar bill to use and throw out. And now we don't need them anymore. It's glorious.
Yeah.
renowned hedge fund manager, billions of jobs might be destroyed, but tens of billions more will be created as a replacement. Yusko gives the example of many industries that have been wiped out in the past with lots of jobs destroyed. Yet we currently have more number of jobs in the world than at any other point in history. Let's get back to the interview as Yusko speaks further about Bitcoin and the overall cryptocurrency industry.
And what blockchain does is, by getting away from trust and moving to truth, we liberate this capital and allow us to build a better future. And so when I think about digital assets, I absolutely want to own Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the first use case of a blockchain, and it is digital gold. Well, what is gold? I said gold is money. It's the only money that's ever existed. A single ounce of gold for 5,000 years bought a fine person's suit. From Cleopatra's time to a suit of armor to a zoot suit to Savile Row today. Single ounce gets you a fine person's suit. Okay, perfect store of value. But here's the thing. If I had a bar of gold right now and I wanted to break it in half and send you half, two problems. One, I'm not strong enough to break it in half. Okay, even if I could break it in half, I can't stuff it in my computer and send it to you. So it's not very portable and it's not very divisible. But if I want to send you Bitcoin, I can tap a couple buttons and bing, I can send you value. So Bitcoin is equally scarce. It's permanent, immutable truth, and it's portable and divisible. It's just better gold. Gold is the base layer of money in the world. All currency is built on top of it. Central banks own gold. They create currency using debt on top of it, dollars, yen, euros, bolivars, whatever. Same thing will happen here. Bitcoin will be digital gold, and then the digital age will be built on top of it, and every country will have their own digital currency. Now, some of that's a little dystopian.
So I just want to make the point there. When I said that this is like being in Manhattan in the 1880s in New York, where you're able to buy acres of land for just a few dollars. The entire digital economy will be built on Bitcoin. I mean, we'll literally be buying things for 10 sats, and a sat, if you don't know, is 0.081 ones and a 1, or 8 zeros, right? 7 decimal places to the right is 1 Satoshi. And, we'll, in the future, I think we'll buy things, they might cost $500, but they'll be 5 Satoshis, because the Satoshi will be so much more valuable than even $100 bill, I think, in the near future.
Yeah. And one of the things that, this is why I always, when I first understood what blockchain and crypto was, and then I compared it to our present monetary system, where we had a piece of paper to support that divisibility, to support that transportability, but that piece of paper was a certificate for gold that we could exchange at a bank and get the actual money, the real value for. And so when we look at blockchain, to me, that was a digital receipt, immutable, transferable, trustless. It was a digital receipt. And so when I listen to people like Jim Rickards and certain economists, and obviously what we're seeing places like Zimbabwe and other places, I think Nigeria as well, and a couple other places where they have a central bank digital currency, but it's backed by gold. You see, and Jim Rickards talked about governments and banks doing transactions with the digital currency, which can be broken down into smaller fractions, which can be sent from one person to the next, very cheap, very fast. But that digital token is linked or backed by the real value that they can either have stored in a central location, or if they needed to transport it, they can transport it. But it's that ledger. That's the power. It's that digital ledger, because before the bank's ledgers were private. Even right now, we can't audit the Federal Reserve. We have whatever they're telling us, it's 100 times worse. The Federal Reserve can do whatever they want. They can print a quadrillion, gazillion, kabillion dollars right now. You can't audit them. Nobody would know. They're doing currency swaps. They have trading desks on the market. It's all rigged. It's all a fugazi. But when you have blockchain, that eliminates that. That stops that. It's transparent. You can see it. It's verifiable. So that's what people, this is why the technology is so amazing, and what's taking place. This is one of the most significant time periods to be alive. You're at the end of the beginning and the beginning of the end. I mean, this revolution, this change in humanity, it's just an exciting time for those who are getting in position. But for those who got their head in the sand and have a normalcy, complacency bias, just thinking that, I can keep saving cash and, I'll just keep contributing to my 401k and, my government's going to take care of me. I'll rely on Social Security and, just whatever that is, they're done.
Yeah, you got to wake up, guys. So I just want to point out why this is the greatest wealth transfer. Gold is at about a 13 trillion market cap, just a little below $2,000 an ounce, but they're still finding more gold, Ricardo. Yeah. We don't know how much gold there is in the world. And the higher the price of gold goes, the deeper they will dig for more gold, because it's more valuable. Now, obviously, we love gold and silver. You need to have it. Okay. It's been real wealth for a millennia. Silver is only 1.2 trillion at $22.83 an ounce. And as we know, you guys know this price is rigged, but this is why we both have a lot more silver than gold, because it's such a lower market cap and has room to grow, and it has 10,000 uses. Yeah. But then you have Bitcoin down here. Not even $1 trillion asset, guys. 690 billion at 35,000. So that means what it needs to go up 15, 17 times to get to the price of gold or the market cap of gold. And there's no more Bitcoin being made, guys. 21 million is it. I mean, it's being produced daily with miners, but it is limited to 21 million. It's the first digital scarcity money in the entire world. So that's why I'm saying we're just going to get to where 5 Satoshis will buy you a nice dinner.
Yeah.
And $500 won't buy you a Happy Meal from McDonald's.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, wealth can easily be valued in sats in the near future. Yeah,
Yep.
without a doubt.
It's all about stacking the sats, guys. All right, let's get back to the video. We just got a couple minutes left.
I don't want the government to be able to tell me how and when and if I can spend my money. Imagine this: central bank digital currency in the future. You get paid on Friday, go have a few cocktails, drunk text about the president, and you wake up next day, your money's only worth 70 cents. Mark, that could never happen. Yeah, it could. Or worse, they say, you know what, if you don't spend this money by Friday, it disappears to encourage consumption. Or worse, Walmart pays a little something to the government. Your money doesn't work at Target anymore. That could never happen. Yeah, it could. It could. So CBDCs, lots of problems and challenges. Governments are going to have them. They'll be digital fiat. China already has one. Ultimately, fiat currency is bad, evil, horrible, fine. Bitcoin's better. It's a store of value. Think about being in Venezuela. If you stayed in bolivars, all your wealth is gone. All your family's wealth is gone. All of it gone. Zero. Had you converted those bolivars to Bitcoin, you still had your Bitcoin. And it's worth a lot more. So same thing in Turkey, same thing in Argentina, same thing in the United States. 3 years ago, if you bought Bitcoin at $10,000, right? The money that you have is now worth half as much because they printed $10 trillion, right? The price of everything is up. So your value, your currency is down, but your Bitcoin is now worth 26,000. That's better. But the Bitcoin didn't change. One Bitcoin, still one Bitcoin. What happened is the money got worse because we price Bitcoin not in Bitcoin. We price it in dollars or yen or bolivars or Argentinian pesos. So it's that relative value that matters.
That wraps up today's crypto news.
So great video there.
Yeah.
Mems, maybe do you want to break down CBDCs and some of the dangers he did talk about, and maybe the difference between a CBDC and a true decentralized blockchain?
Yeah, I mean, the best way to put it probably to some people is the mark of the beast. It's like when you hear in the Bible and they say, you won't be able to buy or sell without their permission. Literally, that's central bank digital currency. It's programmable. So it's not in the same sense that we're talking about with decentralized finance and all the great benefits of blockchain. It's them using it and manipulating it to where they have full control and able to cut you off, and of course we know that they're tying this into the social credit score and all this dystopic, type of, future that they see where they're using the technology, not to enhance the quality of life of humanity or, take us and humanity to the next level, but literally slavery, 2.0, a system that is not for the main street, but literally keeps, the few, the 1% in control yet again. So central bank digital currencies are the worst thing that can happen. We have to fight against central bank digital currencies. We do not comply. We do not acquiesce. We do not consent, okay, to central bank digital currencies. It's the worst thing that can happen. And this is why, they're coming after crypto and they're coming after blockchain and they're putting all this FUD in this space because they don't want you to understand that you have the power now. Before we needed government to institute and to be able to do for us and handle things for us. But now we have the ability to handle and own it ourselves. And that is going to enrich us in the process. But for those who are hoping that the government is coming to save them and, you want to go along with these corrupt, institutions and you believe in these banks, well, you're going to suffer because of it, because of your lack of knowledge, of understanding what a CBDC is and how it works and what is fiat currency and how it works and what is God's money, gold and silver, and What is DeFi? You know, it's your lack of knowledge that will put you in a financial, you know, distress.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to, you know, staying plugged into the runners and information that we're sharing and other people that are helping people understand the value of gold and silver, the value of blockchain, the value of DeFi, the value of these systems and leverages and protocols. Okay. But CBDs are the worst thing. You have to, you know, vehemently reject any type of CBDC.
Yeah, I think the consumption will definitely happen. That way they will stop you from being able to save in anything. They'll, you know, just make you spend, be a consumer. You'll own nothing and be happy, as our good friend Klaus Schwab always says.
You know, friend of mine.
That was sarcasm. That was Don't get mad at me, Ricardo.
Yeah.
And if you guys missed yesterday's call, you need to watch it, guys. We showed you a way to automate getting into cryptocurrency. And we talked about Endotech and having AI trade for you. Guys, this is a $10,000 account that started in 2021. And they were able to use leverage if they were international outside of the United States. So we're going to be able to use this one soon. But this is $10,000 to $500,000 in 2 years. Less than 2 years. Do you know anywhere else that has done that? This is all verifiable and proven. You can look at every single month, their profit and loss. Looks like they had about 5 or 6 months there was some loss.
Yeah. And the key thing you said there, Mike, is verified and proven. Okay. This is a breakout AI optimized strategy. Okay. And you can check them on YouTube, but obviously we have the system that's allowing you to leverage this technology at a fraction. I mean, literally a fraction of the cost. There's no better way to get access to this technology than what we're sharing with you. And understand that a lot of these platforms that say they're giving these gains and returns, they don't show you the trades. It's not verifiable. You're more than likely in a pyramid Ponzi scheme. Okay. But this is why I get excited when I see platforms like this, because you can see the data. You can see the trades. Like Mike said, you can trust it. It's verifiable. You can see it's transparent. Not somebody saying, oh, we're doing this and we have this and we're doing that, but then you can't see the actual activity that's producing the results. That's the problem. Here, you don't have that. So we were talking about limiting risk, limiting exposure, limiting adverse exposure, liabilities. And, you know, this is why we get excited about Endotech, but through the platform that we're getting it through, because of the advantages and benefits and getting it at, you know, this phenomenally low cost, a fraction of what, you know, institutional investors are paying it for. So that was a phenomenal live stream we did the other day. You guys definitely going to want to check that out. But also we got these videos and information inside the Runners app as well. And of course on YouTube.
And I just wanted people to see, for institutions to use this AI trading, it's a flat $125,000 subscription fee per 5 million. And then they have to pay 25% performance fees. We're able to get access to this, guys, for a one-time payment of $1,500.
Yeah.
And then 20% performance fees.
Yeah.
That's it. This is the only place. Okay, you can get access to it.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to automate it, you don't have to worry about it. It'll sell, you know, when it's time to sell, when it's time to take profit, when it's time to protect yourself in USD. But when it's time to take off, it'll get into Ethereum or Bitcoin, and you don't have to do anything once you set it up.
Yep.
So we have every single way to get wealthy covered, guys, whether it's gold and silver, cryptocurrency, AI trading, how to dollar cost average, how to get into DeFi, how to win with Infinity Pi, how to monetize your health data. Guys, this is the greatest wealth transfer right now. So take massive, massive action, get educated, and run with the runners.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it might sound like a lot. It might seem like, oh, it's this and that and this and that. But understand something. These are very, very unique times that we're in. Okay, things are accelerating, and there's so much growth and opportunity in every area of human activity, like I talked about. And so whether, you know, like we talked about, obviously with healthcare, or if you're talking about, you know, the movement of money or industries and businesses and things of this nature, there are companies, there are systems, there are opportunities that are going to come up. And we would want to take advantage of that. You know, when people are in their 401k and they got a mutual fund, they're not in just in one stock. They're not in just one sector of the economy. You're in multiple stocks. You're in multiple sectors of the economy because you want to leverage and benefit from the rise and the innovation and the gains that are there in those sectors. So it's the same thing with the way the runners run, right? We're looking for centralized and decentralized systems and platforms, opportunities that are doing innovative, revolutionary things with blockchain technology, especially when they're doing something with real world assets or something physical in the real world. Okay, that really gets me excited. But of course, also tying in what has always had value and what will always have value, what has no third-party counter risk, no, gold and silver, right? Always been money since the times of Egypt. Seen everything under the sun, wars, pandemics, crisis, you name it. Money all around the world, Africa, Europe, Asia, the Americas. Constitutional money, Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution. I mean, it's gold and silver, so you don't have to worry about that, right? And then now taking advantage of the innovation and excitement that's going on in this space. And, that's what we're going to continue to do. So there are going to be more opportunities that come up in different areas of human activity and dealing with the blockchain. And we like to find them early and we like to get a position.
That's it, brother. Absolute fire. Tomorrow we'll be on Zoom at noon with some training. And tonight, guys, okay, tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, we're going to be going over Infinity Pi, how to get involved, and how to maximize you unlocking your token. So if you got into 1.0 and you're a DAO owner, you're definitely going to want to hear that. Sean has figured it out. We're going to verify it all so you guys know what you need to do as we're coming up to that $5 mark. When we hit that $5 mark, it's going to really take off because that's where everyone breaks even who got into DAO 1.0. All right, that's it, guys. We'll see you tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, tomorrow at noon. Lace up.
Yep. Get in.